And that's the thing, is finding a dentist that gets it. I knew orthodontists that were doing orthodontic treatment, but then it was too late, because we want to get these kids when they're young, when they're little. Having the appliance, I feel like, is a huge advantage to what I do as a myofunctional therapist. Yeah, muscles. I work with teaching kids where proper tongue placement, proper swallowing, proper chewing. I look at the lingual frenum. I look at, see if they can breathe through their nose. If they can't breathe through their nose, then I can't help them. They have to be able to establish, they have to have good nasal patency. They have to be able to do that. So I help with mouth breathing. I help, so what I do with myofunctional therapy, it's been around since the 30s. My background is dental hygiene. I was a dental hygienist for over 30-something years, and then I went back for training to do this. Now, a speech therapist can do this also, but she has to have additional training. So it is muscle memory. It's what you're doing with the appliance is you're getting that tongue up in the palate, which is where it's supposed to be, which is what I teach the kids. I teach them, here's your spot on the papilla. Your tongue is anchored. It's resting up in the palate because your tongue is like an orthodontic appliance. It's going to widen the arch. They've got the appliance at night, but during the day when they're at school and stuff, they're not wearing an appliance at all. So they have to know where to keep their tongue when they're not talking, when they're not eating, when they're not wearing the appliance. And then I also give them additional exercises that help with tongue placement, with tongue posture, lip posture, closed lips, tongue up. All the things that HealthyStart teaches, but working together with HealthyStart and having a myofunctional therapist, to me the two blend, to me the two work together. And in talking with other myofunctional therapists in the country who work with HealthyStart doctors, they work together the same way. What I love about it is at nighttime when they're wearing that appliance, that tongue knows where it's supposed to be. Otherwise, my kids have to learn that on their own, and it takes a little bit longer. So I think you have the advantage with the HealthyStart to get that tongue up there.
Did you see Tyler, the little boy? Was that one of yours?
Yeah, he was my patient.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. Because I noticed apparently his habit was this.
He was biting on his lip.
Yeah, and so if a parent identifies, that's causing something, there's so much force there that we don't recognize the impact it's having.
Well, the last little girl that just left, she bites her fingernails. Every one of them. I help that too. I help thumb sucking, finger sucking, biting the fingernails. It's all an oral habit. Getting the tongue up in the palate is supposed to help with that. Getting the tongue, because our palate is very sensitive. And some of the exercises that I help them do for eliminating thumb sucking, finger sucking is up on the palate. Of course, the first thing I do is tell them to put their appliance in to help with the thumb sucking. Because if they don't have their appliance in, their thumb's going to go in. So I say, okay, put your appliance in, But when you're at school and all, you're not going to have that. So then put your tongue up there. Rub on your spot. So the last little girl, every one of her fingernails were bitten. And that's an oral habit. People don't realize that myofunctional therapy can help with that. The appliance can help with that because it's getting that tongue up in the right position. It's an oral thing. Thumb sucking, lip sucking. Some kids suck on their lip, or they bite on their lip, pick on their lip. Some kids twirl on their hair. All of these things, they're all oral related. It's all the tongue. I say the tongue is the rudder. The tongue guides the development, but the tongue also can mess up the development. So the appliance gets the tongue up in the right posture, and where I come in with additional exercises. So I'm like a detective, what I do. We're like detectives. We've got all these things that we look at, and sometimes it's all related to the tongue, the lack of sleep. This little girl, she doesn't sleep. The first thing I had her do was push on her finger on her nose, and let me listen to her breathing. She's all stuffed up. I gave her a Kleenex. Blow your nose. Kids don't know how to blow their nose. So I teach nose hygiene. Blow your nose before you go to bed so you can breathe better.
You've got the tool now of having the appliance that's supporting what you're doing.
Exactly.
How big of an advantage is that for?
Huge. Having the appliance at night especially is huge, because that is when we don't know what the tongue is doing. The force of the tongue is unbelievable, and that's what I was going to say earlier. As far as tongue thrusting, it's not, your swallowing is important, and thrusting that tongue when you're swallowing is important, but more important than that is where does the tongue rest. If the tongue is resting, because it rests more than it swallows. It rests here all day long, So having the appliance is helping to get the tongue in the right position and getting the lips in the right position, because they have to be closed. So they're closing over that appliance. So having the appliance makes my job easier too.
If you were to describe where the tongue should be,
When you put your tongue on that papilla, so if you say la ta da na, na na la ta da na, your tongue is up on your spot. La ta da na. But what most important is, it's not just the spot, it's not just the tongue being on the papilla. The tongue sides also have to anchor. Like if you say E, when you say E, you feel the sides of your tongue go up, so that it's not just like that. It's not just the tip to the spot. The whole tongue has to rest, but the tongue has to fit into the palate. So the tongue sides are right here, like when you say E, and then the tongue tip is on the spot. So I use this to show them. So your teeth want to come together, but if there's something keeping that from happening, it's either a thumb or a tongue. Does that make sense?
absolutely, it's perfect. Where's your tongue? What do you use your tongue for?
Eating, tasting.